Welcome back to Not Real Fishing, everybody. And we're doing something different today. I'm gonna go ahead and get that out the way first. We're gonna be going to the spot we've been going to because I've only got about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes to fish, because my little brother is currently in his bouncy seat. So we're gonna go out and we're gonna try to catch a fish on a rod, but the twist is this rod isn't a rod I've used on the channel before, because it is indeed new. Sort of. It's sort of new. It's an old rod that broke that I then made a new rod with. And we're gonna do fly fishing with it, hopefully. It's a little windy, so we may have to skip that one, but I'm still gonna try it. And we're also gonna try fishing it with a jig head. And we're gonna see how many fish we can get on this rod. And I'll reveal the rod when we get to the water. And yeah. It's just something that I threw together to hopefully try to, because I've been wanting to have, you know, I'll give a little spoiler. It's a very small rod. I've been wanting one that's small to fish like really tight cover, like when I'm under bridges and stuff. Something really tall, really short, really tall. That's the exact opposite of what I'm trying to say. Something that's really short that I can fish in really cramped spaces, but it's got a short range. But I feel like I'll be able to extend it longer than the rod, because if you're standing up with it, you have that length of the rod plus the length of your arm plus the length of that to the ground to add extra length to. So it's not going to be quite as limiting as it would appear to be, but it's still going to be very short compared to what we normally use. So we're going to go ahead and head to the water and hopefully get some bluegills. Those are kind of the goal for today, are bluegills. If we get some big old bass on it, I would be highly surprised, because I feel like if a big bass bites it, it's just gonna break it. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know yet, but hopefully we can go find out. So we can maybe call this a challenge videos. How many fish can we catch in 1 hour on a tiny rod? I mean, that's basically what we're doing. And it's not really tiny. I would say small. I've seen smaller rods. It's not small. It's just below average. Okay. It's not that small. Okay. It's normal. I'll meet you guys at the spot. Alright guys, we've made it down to the spot. A little bit more current than last time, and this is the rod. I took some cork and I had a cane pole where the tip section, the lower part of the rod broke, so I kept the tip section and I turned it into a rod. And that's what we're going to use. We have 15-pound monofilament as our quote-unquote main line. Then we've got 5-pound test tippet, and then we've got a little bumblebee imitation. And we're gonna try to get as close as we can to the water and try to get out there. I have a feeling this isn't gonna cast well as like a Tenkara rod kind of cast, but I think as a bow and arrow cast, it should work pretty good. Trying to get out here where it's a little bit deeper. Just let it sink. Maybe there's one chilling out in the deeper water. I'd like to get at least one on this before I go change rods. Aha! I'd say you handle that pretty well, little rod. Well, it's official. Baby rod catches fish. Now, the reason why I'm excited for that is because I wasn't sure if it would be able to handle it. Seemed to do pretty well, actually. Very pretty little bluegill. Oh! And he's gone. Well, not exactly the release I was going to go for, but I'll take it. We're going to do one more cast before I go get my actual Tenkara rod for a few minutes, because I did change something with it and I'm curious how it's going to work. I changed the my leader. I normally use fly line backing, and I changed that to this same monofilament, and I'm curious how it's gonna work. Then again, I might actually break out the dry fly stuff too. I'm not sure. I think the dry fly is what I have rigged up. We do have a little bit of wind, so I might do that first, but I'm gonna do another cast with this, let it sink. See if we can get another gilly gill. Now, I was thinking with this rod for, like I said, for when I'm under bridges and in really tight spots where I'm vertical jigging. Not like I am right now where I'm on the bank. This isn't really what I intended this rod for. It's a rod that I'll probably use maybe every now and again. And I didn't really make it as a rod to be used all the time. It was just, I had a piece of leftover, you know, stuff. And I'm like, why waste it when I can use it? And that's kind of what I did. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. We're gonna go get my actual Tenkara rod, and we're gonna do a little bit of fishing here. I did what I wanted to do. I wanted to see if I could catch a fish on it, and I did. And it, you know, it's all right. But I also want to try, I was going to do the jig on it. I feel like the jig would work better because it'd be heavier, easier to cast, and it'd be better for a swing pitch while standing up, because you can just kind of whoop. But at the same time, I'm not time constraint, you know. If I had like a couple hours, I would play with this a little bit more. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get the Tenkara rod and do some playing around with that. All right, guys, we're on our way back to the spot. What I've got rigged up on this, I'm just gonna go ahead and let you know, is right now I've got some freshwater floating line tied on, and then underneath that we have it's like a red kabari, but it also has like a little wiggly teaser on the tail. So it's kind of like a hybrid between a kabari and a worm pattern. So I have a feeling it's gonna do pretty good. I originally tied this up so I could do some dry fly fishing, which is why I tied on the floating line. And I could change over to the other one that I have on here, which is the mono, but I'm also kind of digging the idea of just catching some fish, you know, with the floating line. It's really fun because you can watch the line get taken under, and works really well in the wind like we have today. And as always, I always tie my tippet section a little bit too long, so and when I inevitably change flies, I can make up for that excess. But I'll give you a better look at the fly that we're using real quick. This is what it looks like. It's a very weird looking fly, but I think it's gonna do pretty good as long as they're not scared of the color red. So let's find out if they are indeed scared of the color red. Well, it's on top of the water now. If you've ever used floating fly line on a Tenkara rod, I mean, if you've never done it, I would recommend it. It's amazing for freshwater fishing because these rods cast the line so well. Ooh, I'm tangled up in the stick. There we go. You can really get some crazy casts with it. So far, they don't seem to be digging the color red. But I think what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and head to the further back section and try this back there before we run out of time. We've only got 30 minutes left, and I don't want to spend it fishing a spot where the fish aren't there. And we know that there's some bass back here, and I'd like to be able to get one. I don't think that big one's gonna eat today because they're probably still bedding like they were last time. But anything over here that's cool looking? Let's see. See a bunch of little baby bluegills. Let's see if they'll go for this. They run from it. Interesting. Very interesting. There's a whole like school of bluegills taking off down the creek. I mean, a whole school. As soon as they saw me, they took off. I mean, they were scared of the fly too. So I wonder if the color, the bright red, maybe they see it as something aggressive, which is good for the bass because if they're protecting their beds and they see this as a threat to their bed, they might go after it, trying to remove it. Don't see anything there. I'm walking up to the edges of the water kind of slow because if there's fish sitting down here in this deeper water, they might be feeling a bit like I said, I don't have the best faith in this fly. Alright guys, we're switching over to what I call the big kabari. It's an old one. It's got a little bit of bad memory to it, so it's kind of roughed up a bit, but I'm hoping that this is going to get us something. I like this because it kind of mimics a minnow and also like a big dragonfly, so it's kind of like a twofer kind of fly. It generally works pretty good once it gets wet. Got a little one, guys. That's a little guy. Oh, come here. Bass love this freaking fly, man. Seen a bunch of bluegills chase it too, but come on, focus. Little guy, barely hooked. Very cute little guy. We'll let him go. See if we can get another one. Not the size that I'm after, but still fun to catch. Hello? 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 Okay guys, we're almost out of time. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take another fly out of the fly box. We're gonna work our way back. We're gonna do a couple more casts with this big kabari. If we don't get anything, we're gonna switch to that smaller fly pattern that I'm getting ready to grab. I'm not sure which one it's gonna be yet, but let's go with something. Let's go with another kabari style. That's black. It's got a big hook. It's an ant pattern. How about, we could go with this one. Green and brown. Then again, let's just go with solid brown. So if we don't get anything, we're gonna go with a solid brown style, all natural. And we'll try to catch a few bluegills on the way out. I want to try to catch one more bass. I hooked another bluegill, but I was on the phone with my dad. And I kind of missed the hookup ratio point, so I missed him. So we're going to get this rigged up. Get this on our back. We're going to try to get this one bass we spooked earlier to eat. And if he doesn't, then we're probably going to go ahead and put on the bluegill pattern, and then we're going to call it for today. Because I'm about out of time. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time to fish because, like I said in the last video, if you were here, and if you weren't here last time, go ahead and subscribe. That way you can keep up with the updates on what's going on in my crazy life. And that way you also don't miss any videos. But my mom's currently in the hospital with some major health issues, which I won't go into right now because I'm too focused on trying to get a fish to eat my fly. But if you are curious, I talked about it in the video I uploaded last week. I try to upload once a week. Once summer hits, it's going to be twice a week, but it's not quite summer yet, so I hate when that happens. I was rushing my cast and I got it all tangled up. Great. Alright guys, we are officially out of time. We're going to work our way back. I've got the smaller brown kabari tied on. Just trying to get it wet so we can start working our way back. And now she's wet. Not as much action as I would have liked for a kabari. I think the feathers are the hackles too. Oh no, it's going. Just had to get a little bit wetter. Hackle was a little stiff. There we go. Now we're talking. No, nobody responded to me. I just texted you and said, did y'all get the message? And he said, yeah, y'all watched it together, and that's all I knew. Yeah. Yeah.